Okay, let's try this again, y'all. I'm so sorry. I have no clue how to work this private group. So I want to reiterate that we're gonna talk about goals, and that's why I'm posting privately in this group. Because you know you're not just my bride friend group, but you are a group that is interested in God goals and or gardening, just like growth in general. So I'm Rose, and I believe that I'm called to support women who want to increase their fulfillment in their finances and begin to leave a legacy for themselves and the people they love. And so they're doing this by digging deep within themselves and investing in themselves so that they can make the income and the impact that they want to see. Okay, so we're going to talk about goals because we're a third of the way of the year of 2025 in. Y'all, it's only 2 more thirds left, but the good news is you have more time ahead of you in 2025 than what's behind you. But we want to make sure that you optimize and maximize the next 2/3 of the year that's left. And so we're going to talk about goals. So personally, I don't tend to make a lot of New Year's resolutions, but I try to be very intentional in picking a word to focus on. And then with that word, I'm intentional in putting together 3 goals: a God goal, a business goal, and a wellness goal. And so I look back like a month ago and I was not making progress on my goals at all. And I had kind of just gotten stuck because I either struggle with busyness, like finding stuff to do with my chickens, my rabbits, my garden, or for other people, or I struggle with boredom when I don't have the right things on my plate. So I walk myself through this process, through this activity, and I want to share it with you in hopes that if you are stuck or stalling on maximizing and optimizing 2025 and like crushing your goals and seeing the things materialize and manifest that you've written down on those vision boards and stuff, I'm gonna walk you through this process. Okay, so the first thing we want to do, when we talk about goals, especially when you finished 1/3 of the year, right? So we've gone through 4 months. You want to reflect. And so I know it's like, reflect. We just did that when we set our intentions for the year. But yes, you want to reflect so you don't repeat. If you are stuck, you don't want to keep being stuck for the rest of the year. So it's going to take some time to reflect. And when I was in the nonprofit world, we would do this activity called a look back, look ahead. And so what you really need to do is engage in some deep reflection to look back over the last 4 months of the year. And so what are you looking back over? You want to reflect on yourself, on your systems, and on your metrics of success. Okay? So write that down or key it into your head. Oh, I hear myself. Okay. So you want to reflect so you don't repeat. Oh, I got it. Thanks. On yourself. And so this is going to take some self-awareness. Okay? So we're about to start with self. What did you do? What was left undone? And then you need to objectively assess your why. You heard me when I first got on the live. I said that I struggle with busyness or boredom. Right? So I'm very self-aware. When I don't crush my goals, I already know it has something to do with self or systems. But most of the times it has to do with self. And so you want to objectively assess what did you do and what was left undone and why is that? And so oftentimes we are critical of ourselves and we're like, well, I just didn't want it enough. But it's going to take more than that. Like, you're going to really have to think about, is your boredom causing you to be a procrastinator? Is your busyness causing you to have a lot of activity but not making impact? And so you are the only person that knows. And right, like, I'm gonna add another B in there because this is personal to my life. Are you burning down? Like, life is life, and for me, like, it is not life before in any point of my life. Right? So is it boredom? Is it busyness? Is it the burdens of your life? What did you do? right? We're not talking about what did you do according to your goals that you wrote out. No, reflect and look back over the last 4 months. What have you put your talents, time, and tithe money into? Okay? And then you want to ask yourself, why is that? Why is that? Why am I putting money into Wingstop, into brunches, into baby showers when I know I'm supposed to be putting that into my business? Okay, let's move on. So the next thing you need to do is you need to reflect on your systems. No, let's back up. So honestly, if you are reflecting on yourself, which area do you think you need to pay the most attention to, right? Because we talked about boredom, we talked about busyness, and we talked about burdens. So like, if you think about those 3 things in your life, which one would you say is the one that, like, when you're reflecting, you want to circle this and you want to address that, right? Because you want to be aware of it, but then you want to address it. You want to take action on it. Okay, so you don't have to say which one it is, but I'm sure it's one of them. And like you, in your reflection, you need to highlight the one, right? Don't overuse yourself and pick like all 3 of them. Yeah, we know I struggle personally with all 3 of them, but what's the one that needs your most attention? Okay, burdens, you need to take that to God. He said that there would be no lack, and if you experiencing lack, you need to go back and call him to the carpet on it. Because sometimes it's hard to hold the contradictions of your circumstances. Well, God, your word said this. I heard you say this, but my life is reflecting this. Keep petitioning him if you're experiencing those burdens. He is not a father that will hear his children and won't answer. He gonna answer. You keep asking. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is systems. And I heard this amazing quote. I don't know who said it, but it says, success is oftentimes not the lack of a strong strategy, but a lack of good systems. And so sometimes when you are looking at like, what did I accomplish? Like, what's going on? I'm stuck. I'm not seeing the success I thought I was going to see. Like, you go back to the drawing board. You're like, I need a new strategy. Like, probably your strategy is good or good enough, right? Because like everything doesn't need to be a 10 out of 10. Some things you just need to get a 5. Some things you just need to be better than the one that's in the marketplace that's a 3. So take my advice. When I started coaching professionally and attached it as a service to my business, I was struggling with imposter syndrome. I'm like, well, I'm not a certified coach. And I'm like, my life has certified me. Like, my experiences have certified me. My leadership in nonprofit has certified me, right? So I don't need to be John Maxwell, right? Right now, I just need to not be the scammer that's calling himself a coach and just taking your money and just Googling stuff and using ChatGPT, right? So, anyway, let me get off of that. I digest. So your systems. What are your systems? You need systems. Systems are the things that we use for smoother, more efficient activity, right? So what systems are you using and are they working well for you? Something for me is like, what's my system when I wake up? What do I want to accomplish in the day? Because I'm making content, I'm editing content, I'm marketing content, I'm coaching clients, I got my garden, I got my rabbits, I got my kids, I got my mom, I got my church, I got all of this stuff. And so I need a system to say what my ideal week is and what my ideal day looks like for their week. So I'll give you an example. Mondays are my Bible study days. I study my Sunday school lesson for the upcoming Sunday on Mondays. Tuesday is my farm and my garden care. Wednesdays are my lifestyle needs. If my car needs an oil change, my tires need to be rotated, right? Thursdays is when I work on my business exclusively. When I come home from doing my job, when I'm done meeting with clients, whatever it is, Thursdays, I have said these are the times that I set aside to pay attention to my business. So what are your system? What is your system? Right? You need systems. And sometimes you need a platform to help you stay on top of your system. So like I have Trello to help me project manage and things like that. Okay. So when you think about yourself, when you're reflecting on your systems, like what is it? Is this an area that you would say needs attention? Because most times it's not your strategy. Okay, and the third thing is, what is your metric of success? And so I want to talk a little bit about this because sometimes our success metric only has to do with money. And I find myself being concerned about the money that I make when I'm in survival mode. When I got a building. When my daughter going to prom and she want to be dropped off in a helicopter. Like, then I start saying, like, I'm a failure. Things are not going right because I'm worried about profit. But I want you to take into consideration what might your success metrics need to be. Because if you look at the way that God grows things, the very last thing that grows is the fruit on the tree. And even the fruit that grows on a tree, it don't eat its own fruit. So, fruit that grows on a tree, you know, the food that is fed, the nitrogen, the phosphorus, the potassium, that comes from compost. And you know what compost is? Dead stuff. Poop. Manure. So, I know we think about profit a lot, but I want us to start thinking about what might your success metrics need to look like. What brings you peace? Because we need to get out of grind culture. Like, I got to have 15 streams of income, and like, I got to wear 15 different hats and be 15 different people. And at this corporation, I'm this, and at this place, like, no. Grind culture, the culture will tell you that the more you grind, the better you'll be. But God's culture, God's kingdom does not tell us that. He say just toss your net out on the other side. They had been toiling and grinding all night. He said just, it's another way. It's another way, right? So Christ's kingdom says seek first the kingdom of God. Like if you get it right there, everything else in your life will get right. So I want us to think about what type of internal insights, discernment, wisdom, peace, how are we incorporating that into our success metrics? Okay, so I want you to reset. I want you to finish out the year strong. We just started our second quarter, whatever. I'm not even finna get into that because I'm gonna say it wrong. But we're starting in May. We got 7 months. More months ahead of us than we have behind us. Now is a perfect time to reset. And then our reset, I want you to think about reflecting on yourself, reflecting on your system, and reflecting on your success metrics. And when you like ask yourself, what's the area? Because sometimes we don't have the capacity to really go in and tweak all three, right? Let's be real. So ask yourself, which one is the one that I need to really focus on? Start there. And then we'll check back in next month and see how we're doing, okay? So this is how you re-up. This is how you don't repeat what you just did the last 4 months. Right? Okay. So reset and re-up. Get yourself situated. And we'll check back in the first Thursday of June. All right. Thanks for joining. Bye.